closing in on the end of May. It's 80 degrees outside. That can only mean two things. One, summer is right around the corner, and two, it's pool season. So, season 2 with the Intex 15-foot prism frame pool is upon us. I'm gonna show you how I set it up the second time around. In today's episode, Don't Burn the House Down. So if you've come to this video, you're obviously looking for tips and tricks on the Intex 15-foot prism frame pool. If you're new to my channel and have never been here before, I would highly suggest that you go to this video that I'll put the link to right up above. That details the struggles that I had with the pool in year 1. That was last year. That also happens to be my most viewed video ever on my channel, which is kind of strange because I put it together as an afterthought. So this year I figured, you know what? I'm actually going to put some time and some effort into showing everybody how I'm going to turn this into the pool. Now, a few housekeeping items before we begin. First and foremost, this is going to take me quite a while to get the ground back to where it needs to be. It's also going to take me a while to put the pool up. So I'm not sure if I'm going to put this video in a few different parts, a few different videos, or how I'm going to break it up. So stay tuned for that. Secondly, it is in the middle of construction season now that it's the end of April here in Minnesota. So I apologize for the background noise. There are jackhammers. There are all sorts of construction equipment driving around me. So lots of noise going on. Not to mention the beautiful sounds of nature. So hopefully the audio on this video works out well, but let's get to it. This is what the pool pad looks like after sitting all winter. We had a lot of snow. At one point, this pad was under about 3 feet of snow. You can also tell that the dog has been running through here with his paw prints. A lot of dirt and mud and everything kind of tossed around. As the grass is growing, it's breaking through kind of the side barriers here. So I've got a little bit of upkeep to do. The other part about this is that last year when the pool was up, I did everything I could to get it nice and level, but over there was a little bit low, and then over here was a little bit low as well. So before I actually start to put the pool up, I am gonna soften this dirt out. I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit, and I'm gonna move a little bit over that way. So I'm gonna take some of the dirt from the high side over here and just kind of push it over that way. It was only about 1 inch or 2 off, so it wasn't crazy, but it was enough that it kind of drove me crazy. So I'm gonna fix that right now. Got most of the grass picked up and kind of weed whacked up from around the perimeter there. So now I'm gonna have to start moving some dirt, like I said, from over here, pulling it over here a little bit. So the tool of the trade is my big old snow shovel. Basically the way this is gonna work, I'm just gonna start dragging it. Now I'm just gonna run that from the high side over to the low side back behind me to smooth this area out and move just a little bit of dirt. I don't need to go deep, but just a little bit of this topsoil is really all I need to kind of replace it right over there and get that kind of up a little bit. So that is the next move here. Get scraping. Really, dude? Really? I think I have the bulk of the dirt moved. So I'm gonna grab my rake. Just kind of use this to level out the remaining sand because I don't want to move it. I just kind of want to knock down the high sides and then maybe catch any of that big debris that I need to get out of there. If you watched my pool video from last summer, this will look very familiar to you. It's a 2x4 with my big carpenter's level on top of it. Now last year when I used this thing, what I would do is I would drag it across the dirt to kind of level out, you know, the high side to the low side, or just actually to move dirt around. In fact, I staked one corner of it right here in the middle, and then I pivoted the whole thing around the outside to distribute the sand. I don't think I need to do that because this should be relatively level so far. So what I'm going to do now is just use it to spot check my level, working from the inside out. So going from that end to the middle, we are pretty close. I mean, that's pretty dead on to level. So I'm just going to move that a few feet this way, come back this way, keep coming back, and then I'm going to start swapping it and going this side to this side, just to make sure that the majority of the spots are level. And it's not going to be perfect, but I don't want there to be a huge outward slope going to the outside, because that's obviously where the support frame will be. And if it's really sinking out here, then the water's going to push that way and hurt the frame. So time to start checking that. Now I'm in a bit of a conundrum. I think I have the ground pretty level. The 2x4 and the level trick shows that it's pretty good. Obviously, it's not going to take a lot of work this time around because I'm just evening it back out. But now I'm wondering if I should continue with the pool, or at least just put down the tarp that goes underneath the pool. My thoughts are that it's supposed to rain quite a bit in the next 7 days. So if I put the pool up and only fill it maybe halfway up with water, the rainwater could help fill it. But then the other part of me says, well, if I just leave this pad as is, that rain can help kind of compact down the dirt a little bit. So I'm not quite sure what to do with this right now. I'm pretty tired. It kind of wipes me out doing what I did there, so I just don't know. I decided I am going to call it a day on the groundwork. There's no sense in trying to, get the pool halfway set up if I'm not able to finish it. So we're gonna leave the groundwork where it is, and then when the weather gets a little bit warmer, a little more promising, and maybe I have a few more hands to help me, we're gonna actually get the pool set up. And I'm not gonna put the tarp down either, because A, it's pretty windy, and fighting with a 16-foot tarp doesn't seem like the best way to spend my time right now when it's this breezy. But also when it does rain, I don't want to trap the water on top of that tarp and then have to find a way to get it off there. So I'm just going to leave this groundwork and call this prepped and start to set up next time. It's been several weeks since I did the leveling of the ground. The weather quite hasn't cooperated. It's been cold. We've had some freezes. But today is the day. It's almost June. It's hot. It's 85 degrees. We are setting the pool up today. First things first, we're going to have to just do a quick rake over this. Obviously, the dog's been running through this, so he's got some paw prints. So I just want to smooth that out. Nothing real fancy, since most of it was already leveled. Not going to worry about these weeds right here because they're all going to get crushed anyways when I put 4,000 pounds of water on it. So we're going to rake this out, and then we're going to start setting it up. Also, I've got some help today. Say hi, Emma. Hi. She's going to be my second pair of hands. I had a lot of people ask on my last video, do you take the pool down during the winter? Obviously, yes, because this video is about setting it up for the second season. I just kept it in the garage. I took the liner and I rolled it up nicely. I put a ratchet strap around it. I know, buddy, you're excited too. I put all the legs in a nice big garbage bag here and kept them in my climate control garage. I don't know if the Minnesota winter would ruin a pool when it freezes into a giant brick, but I can't imagine that would be good for it. So to answer all the questions I got on my last video, yes, I took the pool down every single year, which is why we're setting it up again. Step one, we need to put down the ground cloth. So we're gonna spread this out. Yeah, that's dirt from last year. Emma, hold on to it, babe. Pull it. We gotta make it a nice square, okay? There's some leftover wood chips from last year, so I'm gonna make sure I get those pushed off of here. Don't want those underneath the pool by any means. Put a hole in the liner. All the legs and fittings, fun. And the liner. Emma's laying out the legs as we speak, and the frame so we can start putting it together. Last year I had the skimmer and the pump on that corner, but every time I had to clean out the sand filter, I had to backfeed it and spray water everywhere, which just went all up into the trees and made a huge mess. So this year I'm gonna make sure the skimmer is in this corner, so that when I have to back flush the filter, it just sprays into the yard that way. And pardon that mosquito noise, that's the drone up in the sky getting some footage. So Emma's setting out the frames, and I'm gonna lay out that liner. So the return is this hole right here. That's the skimmer hole. So the skimmer will be over here, return will be over here, and the pump will sit right here. And I have to keep spreading this thing out a little bit. Okay. So that's generally where it's gonna sit. We're gonna put the frame and the legs on it to get this thing standing up. That's right.
I don't care if it's cold.
This part is definitely a pain in the butt. There we go. Give you an idea how this works. Take the frame here, make sure it's not dirty. Slide it through this guy. Like that. And for my trusty assistant, take it here. Get one of these. On there. And try to leave it centered in this gap right here. If it's centered on one, it should be centered on all by the time you're done. Emma's gonna try her hand at doing the last one here. There you go. You can do it, babe. Don't stretch it. There you go.
Now it's fold up on me.
It's not easy, huh?
No.
Give up?
Yeah.
All right, I got you, babe. And then we're gonna take this and connect this through here, honey. Turn that back. There you go, just like that. Oh, oh. Very good. There we go. Is that connected? Let me see that connector. This is the final piece here. This one always tends to be a bear. There we go.
There's a bird on that side.
Whew. Frame is connected. Now we can start doing the legs. So let's do a leg.
Oh, there's a big sign.
This, Emma,
Yes?
you have to hold that right there. Got it? I know it is. So the leg has to go through this, and the connector has to be on the inside of the pool. So don't let the connector be on the outside. Weave this up like this. Oh my gosh. And then we're gonna have to rotate this entire thing.
What?
There, one leg.
Does it have to stand straight?
It will.
Once we get all
Once I get the first one done, the rest of them tend to go a little bit easier. But again, make sure this band right here is straight. And make sure when you put this through the connector The connector's on the inside of the band. Otherwise, it's going to do you zero good.
So that makes sense. So it
Put this guy here, bottom up.
I feel like there's bugs on these, though there's not.
Okay, hold this here.
Yep.
Yep. Hold it hard. There you go, good job. Okay, and we'll do the rest. So what's really making this go faster is I'm having Emma go down there and lift that up a couple of spots down. And that kind of rotates the frame automatically for me. And then it's pretty darn easy just to loop that through, toss it through here, move on to the next one. Make sure it's straight. Extra hands, honey. Kicking booty, thank you. So the frame is up, the legs are in. Now is a very crucial time. And here's something I learned last year. You gotta make sure that your liner is straight and pushed out before you start filling it with water. And you wanna know where your legs are gonna be. So your legs should be literally perfectly up and down. So that leg over there right now is perfectly up and down, which lets you know that when this thing fills with water, that's where it's gonna sit. So eyeballing it, that leg is pretty close to the edge of the pad right here. It's too close for my comfort. So this whole pool needs to come over this way a little bit. So I have plenty of room over here. So if I put this leg straight up and down, there, we have plenty of room. And I know from last year that there's a bit of a decline that goes that way. So if I have more weight up here, that's okay. So this pool needs to move this way just a little bit. And I'll show you how we're gonna do that. We're literally just gonna pull the whole frame over like this. Get these legs where we want them. Kind of up and down. Once we have the pool, or once we have the legs up and down, we know where it's gonna fill to. We might need to go, yeah, we do. So we're gonna need to go that way a little bit as well. Yep, so we're gonna shove this whole thing that way a bit. And this way a bit. Go. So wiggle that leg out this way. Wiggle this leg out. Now is the time to move this, because once this thing fills with water, or really gets any water in it, you're done for. Okay, that's much better. Now that we have the legs approximately where we want them, we have to move the liner. So to do that, what I do is I take this little push broom here, make sure it's nice and clean, hopefully. And I'm gonna go inside the liner. I'm going to push out towards me. And that's gonna stretch that liner out to the feet. You notice all those wrinkles in the liner? That's not a good thing. You want those to be flush. So we're just gonna do this all the way around the perimeter until that liner is where we want it to be. Make our way around. I've almost made a full rotation. There's still some wrinkles in the bottom here, so we're going to do this again. Get those pulled out. I can tell you this leg is not up and down. It's probably where some of these wrinkles are originating from. This thing needs to be straight up and down. Hit that liner. Good job, Em. Now is a pivotal time to check your level. Go from coupler to coupler. And this leg's leaned in a little bit, so if you straighten that out, our bubble's pretty good. Make sure your legs are straight when you're doing this. Good. And you're gonna do this all the way around. Straighten out your legs, check it again. Oops, here we go. Good. Okay, we're gonna do this all the way around. I apologize for the background noise. The drone battery's dying. It's flying up there, but it's time to fill this puppy up. Yeah. So crank it all the way on, honey.
All the way?
All the way.
Okay.
All the way until it stops.
Okay.
The only way it'll go, babe. Okay. Hello, pool. Goodbye, water bill. As this starts to fill, we're gonna press out the rest of those creases in the liner. And now that this is filling, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our wooden supports underneath the feet. So underneath those feet, you wanna put something so that they don't sink into the dirt, sink into the sand. I use these wooden blocks. These thinner ones I use on the side of the pool closest to me, because that's the side of the pool that is usually a little bit higher. You know, as much as I've tried to keep that ground perfectly level, it is a little bit of a slope that goes away from me going that direction. So I put the thinner ones underneath the feet up here, and then I do these little bit thicker ones on the farther edge, just to give it a tiny little boost. It's about an inch difference. You definitely don't want to jack any of the legs up substantially, because if you do that, you're gonna put way too much pressure on the frame right there and the liner. So if your ground isn't, I know, Thor. There you go. If your ground isn't relatively level to begin with, then you're out of luck. So obviously watch my first video if you want to see how to really level your ground. But once you get it to a point where it's relatively close, you can make a couple of minor tweaks like this to get it where you need to be. So we're gonna put these underneath all the feet before it gets too darn heavy to do so. As you're placing these underneath your feet, try to keep your feet on the edge closest to the pool, because what's going to happen is when this fills up, these are going to walk themselves out just a little bit, and so you want to make sure there's room for them to walk, like right here. So put them on the inner side of that board. I also had a lot of questions about how did you plug up the original holes that were in here, because the original skimmer or the original filter that came with this used this hole and that hole. Well, this pool actually came with these two little plugs right here. So all I had to do was put those in the holes, and I was good to go. There was no additional retrofitting on those required. So hopefully your pool comes with those as well. Last year, my two most viewed videos ever were the one where I set up the pool for the first time and where I constructed the solar heater. And you can go back through my videos. I'll put a link up above for both of them. But you might be asking yourself, Matt, where's the solar heater? Well, unfortunately, it's a sad story. See, last year, at the end of the season, I took the pool down, and this thing weighs a good, oh, I don't know, 300-400 pounds. I mean, it's definitely heavy. And I didn't have anybody to help me haul it up the stairs into the garage where it was gonna live. And then I got COVID. And as soon as I got COVID, I was down for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And by the time I was ready and able to pull this thing inside, it had already froze, it had snowed, I missed my window. So unfortunately, you know, Minnesota winters are pretty brutal. This lived outside, and I haven't had a chance to test it, but I'm going to assume that there are some cracks and some leaks in the hose, as there was definitely some water left in there that I couldn't get out that likely froze throughout our winter. So this is going to be on hiatus for now, but I do have something else that I picked up that can hopefully help supplement the heating of the pool. Might not be as good as this guy did, but until I can pull this apart and fix it, or maybe just redo it, I have a secondary idea. This is my hopeful replacement for the solar heater. This is an Intex solar cover. Now, as always, I will leave links to everything I have for the pool setup in the description below. But apparently the way this thing works is it's like a big blanket. It allows the heat from the sun to go through the cover, and then it kind of traps it in overnight. Most of your heat loss happens at night. And so this is supposed to keep that from happening. So we'll see. It kind of looks like a big thing of bubble wrap, but hopefully this will work. Now, once you get this hole cut out, there's 3 holes on the sides and 5 holes on the top. I guess this fits several different models, but once you get your hole fit right, this just kind of opens up like a little book, and it just kind of squeezes up in there. You did this right. It should fit like a champion. There, look at that. Still lines up. Have daylight through all the holes. Then we're gonna grab the skimmer and this, and some screws. Thor, knock it off. Put one screw through here on this side. Push it through like so. Grab another screw on the other corner here. Like so. I see how it's kind of hanging on there. I can line this up with the hole here. Actually grab my drill first, that would be smart. Set my drill on super, super low. We're not trying to actually make any holes here. Right there. Not gonna go super tight on it quite yet. Once you have 2 holes lined up, the rest of them should go on absolutely no problem. Don't drop your drill in the pool. That would suck. Easy as that. All the screws are in there. It's a nice tight seal right here so the water won't leak out. It'll just go in the skimmer as it should. And then we'll hook the skimmer up to the pump, which we're doing next. So we've got a couple inches of water in there now. A couple of wrinkles emerged in the liner there, but no big deal. I'm not going to get too fed up about it. Killed the spider. But as you get some water in the bottom, you've got to make sure that you are watching these feet, like I said. Yeah, the goal is to not let these chunks of wood dig into your liner, or basically even touch your liner. So as the water starts to press out, we're going to move this, the camera here, out a little bit, so that the feet are on it, but not against the pool, like that. And we're just gonna go around and make sure they're all looking good. That one's got some good gap. It'll still move out a little bit. Actually, it might not. I'll push that in a little bit. But just keep your eye on these because, like I said, these feet will continue to move just a little bit as the pool fills. You can see the bladder starting to push out a little bit. We're gonna install the water return now. So what happens is the water comes out through the skimmer, the basket picks up all the debris, it'll go down through the sand filter, which we're gonna sit right here, filters it out, and then it returns it through this little hole right here. This again is aftermarket, so we're gonna screw this little guy off. This comes off. Like so. Make sure your little ring is on the inside. I'm gonna go inside the pool here. Like so. This is a little vent right here. Make sure that's facing up. And we're just gonna hand tighten this bad boy on here. And really hand tighten it. Here she goes. It's good. It's tight. Just like that. Grab our little vent guy here, screw him back on. And I think if you buy the sand filter, which I'm about to show you, it comes with a part that is a 90-degree elbow that comes off of here and then goes down, that you then screw your return hose into. I either didn't get that part or I threw it away thinking it was something else. So what I have to do is I will tie some rope, and I'll show you here, from here to here, and then I'll suspend it underneath this hose, because when this hose is full of water, it gets pretty heavy. So this bad boy screws on here, like so. But I don't like it just hanging off the pool like this. So I'm just gonna take a piece of string, tie it from here to here to here, and then we're gonna make sure it stays nice and snug so there's not just a bunch of weight hanging off of this on the pool. Maybe it won't hurt it, maybe it would, I don't know. I just don't like to risk it. A little bit more water in the pool. Good time to take a step back and look at the band. The band is the white thing that runs around the perimeter of the pool here. And this is what keeps in right here. Right down there, that is what keeps the bladder from pushing all the way out and just exploding. So you want that to be nice and even going across. You don't want it to be folded up. You don't want it to be all wrinkled. You don't want it to be, you know, like this or like this or like this. You just want it to be nice and even across the entirety of the pool. So far, she is looking good. Okay, got the string put in. Like I said, I just tie it here, tie it over here, loop it around here one time. That just keeps the pressure when this thing fills up with water. It gives it something to kind of pull down on so it's not tugging down on the liner. Again, I think I threw the piece away, or maybe it's just built like that. I don't know, but I just don't think that's probably healthy for it. So that's what I do. Same lines. I have a 2x4 cut that fits underneath the lip of the skimmer here. Because again, when that skimmer fills up with water, it gets pretty heavy. And without anything under it, it just kind of pulls way down like this. And again, I don't think that's probably good for the liner. So I just prop that up like so. And it keeps the weight off the side of the liner. I had a subscriber recommend doing a big PVC pipe coming down out of here, and then kind of resting it on the ground, then doing a hard 90 and putting that into the filter, which I love that idea. But you know, this worked last year, and fingers crossed it didn't leak last year. So I'm just gonna keep doing this for a while. Maybe down the future I'll make that little upgrade, but for now, you know, this works pretty well. Brought the sand filter out. This is a Intex 10-inch sand filter, and it will sit down there like so. Thank you, dear. So the inlet comes from the skimmer, runs into the inlet of the pump. This little piece connects this right here, the pump to the sand filter, like so. Again, hand tighten everything, make sure your washers are all in there. Each one of these openings should have a little rubber grommet, looks like this. So make sure those are in there. Otherwise, you're gonna have water spraying everywhere. And your outlet, which goes to the return, comes out of the filter itself right here. Like so. All right, sand filter is hooked up, ready to pump. That is literally going to be it for today's portion of the video. All that is left to do now is quite literally wait. It's gonna take several hours, probably overnight, to fill this puppy up. So now we wait. Once the pool fills up, it is time to add the chemical to it. So to start things off, I use shock. Now you can buy shock at Walmart, you can buy it pretty much anywhere. All it is super concentrated chlorine. Now when you shock a pool, you have to do it at night. So once the pool filled up, it was about 11 o'clock at night that it filled. I put in 1 bag of shock and I let the filter run. In the morning, when the sun comes up, it tends to deactivate the shock. So if you let it run all night with the filter going, that's where you get the best bang for your buck. And then in the skimmer, or the floating dispenser, I use 3-inch chlorine tablets. You can buy these anywhere. However, right now there is a nationwide chlorine shortage because there was a fire at a plant down south, I guess. So if you can find shock, or if you can find these tablets, buy them. I mean, unfortunately, I paid some pretty significant markup for these tablets, but I did get a big jug of them, so I have them all summer. So I don't do anything with the pH or the alkalinity. I have myself noticed that as long as I keep the chlorine where it needs to be on the test strips, then everything else seems to fall in line. So shock and 3-inch tablets in the floating dispenser, and that is all I do for chemical. On floor. That is the finished product. The only thing I have left to do is to landscape around the perimeter here. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do mulch again this year or rocks, but as you can see, the solar cover is on. The solar cover is basically just a giant sheet of bubble wrap that floats on top of the water, but it keeps debris out, and it also lets the sun come through without letting the heat escape, allegedly. So I filled this up 2 nights ago, so it's been full for 36 hours, give or take. The solar cover was on it yesterday. We had partly cloudy day. It was kind of sun here and there. But as of right now, the water temperature is showing at about 68 degrees, maybe a shade under 70 degrees. And when it came out of the tap, it was about 55 degrees. So it's definitely done some warming. So the solar cover so far is looking to be a pretty decent investment. As we walk around here, I'll kind of show you the pool setup, or I'm sorry, the filter setup. Fully functioning, fully operational. I'm just gonna stretch that out a little bit. I have this set up on a timer through the Casa app, and I've shown you this before. So this will kick on at 10 a.m. It will kick off at 2 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. But if I wanted to kick it on right now, it's as easy as pushing the button. And you notice the pump fires up. I have to come over. Here's the filter. This is the Hayward skimmer. Twist that off. There's a skimmer in action. The pool is actually a little too full because it rained yesterday. So ideally this will be down to about here instead of all the way up to here. So it needs to lose honestly about 2 to 3 inches of water. And I'll just let that happen through some evaporation. And if it gets too full, then I'll just backwash out the filter. But this filter is fantastic. So this combination here is really solid. The Hayward skimmer, it pulls all the debris off the top of the water. It sucks it into the basket here. So all you have to do then is reach into the basket and empty it out. If I can actually get the top back off here. There we go. You reach in, you pull out the basket, take all the junk, dump it out, put that back in. And the pump pulls down the water down here through the tube into this basket. So any big leaves or anything that happen to make it through the skimmer will get stuck in here. And then it goes through the pump here. And then this is full of sand. So it actually pushes the water through the sand. That's how it filters out. And then it shoves it back out through the return line here, which comes up, goes back into the pool. When the pressure on the gauge here gets up into the yellow or into the red, that basically means there's a bunch of junk inside that filter that's been filtered out. Super easy. All you do is you shut it off, and you're gonna turn this to backwash, which is under here, and open this valve up right here. And that'll shoot the water out, and it basically just pushes all the garbage out of the filter. So there's no paper filters in there that need to be replaced. It's all sand. So I did the test strips on it yesterday. The chemicals are right where they need to be as far as the chlorine goes. I do have my chlorine floater in there somewhere underneath that filter, or underneath the solar cover, I mean. There's my little floating chlorine dispenser. I can't even find it now, but it's in there somewhere. But that has about 4 of those 3-inch discs of chlorine free floating in there, and those gradually release chlorine into the pool. And then once a week I'll add a bag of that shock to keep the chlorine levels up where they need to be if they start to rapidly fall. But clear blue water, you can see all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, she is ready to go. So if there's anything I missed, please hit me up in the comments. The pool video I made last year was my biggest one I ever made, and I had a ton of questions on it. So if I missed anything in this video or in that last video, don't forget to shoot me a comment or two, and I'll try to answer anything I can. And as always, I appreciate any video likes and subscriptions, all that good YouTube jargon. So until next time, have a happy summer and enjoy your pool.